What is up, everyone? Welcome to FSP episode number 99.
Almost there.
Almost there. Now, I would say tune in next week for episode 100 of FSP, but there will not be an FSP next week because I will be gone. I will be out of town. We'll be in Boston. So I'm looking forward to the trip. Meanwhile, anybody in the chat who knows the best places for food in the Boston area, please make sure to type in the chat at some point during the show, because I want some really good seafood, because we have shit seafood here in Texas, unless you live maybe like on the coast. And I want whatever else you recommend. I imagine they have some pretty good like bar food and stuff like that there. I don't know. Just give me some good things. Oh, I fucking love seafood, man.
Oh.
Why is that a disappointing thing for you? Like, you asked me, do I like seafood? And I'm like, yeah, I love it. You're like,
I thought you'd be on my side. I'm just disappointed.
You're on Kate's side.
She hates I forgot. Seafood. She was the one. Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I love seafood. I don't get to eat enough seafood, actually.
Seafood is
disappointing.
Yeah, see, Fuzz.
What's seafood?
Fuzz knows what's up.
What seafood do you be eating?
Fish.
like
halibut,
shrimp, like what are we talking about?
Haddock,
like salmon. Yeah, haddock. Yeah,
haddock. Haddock. I love cod. I love haddock. Salmon is good. It's not really seafood, but I eat a lot of catfish. That's a Texas thing. That's like southern seafood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shrimp. Typical stuff.
I am starting to love smoked salmon, but it has to be done a certain way. That's the only seafood I will eat.
Smoked salmon.
Yeah.
And Antonio Newman says cod is bland as fuck. It's bland if you don't know how to season it and stuff, right? Like,
yeah.
I've never had bland cod because it's always like,
put some
like lemon or salt, pepper, lemon or something like that, But yeah, we haven't even done the intros yet. But yeah, I'll be in Boston, so let me know your food suggestions. I see Dirty Robber as a bar there. RSJ fan says, okay. Oh, calamari. Oh yeah, dude, absolutely love that shit. Jason Max has Captain D's. I love Long John Silver's and Captain D's. I gotta admit, they're like the same thing pretty much. But
yeah.
What's up, 3-Bit? How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Basically, my mom's birthday is today, so celebrated that. Got some food at the Corral, the Golden Corral. I haven't been there in a long time. So that was pretty cool.
Golden Corral.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I got some. I got some basic food there.
I have a story from Golden Corral, but I don't think I should tell you because.
Oh, really? Bad
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
You can tell me after.
Okay.
But no, it was cool. We were just like laughing, having stories, and what else did I do? I mean, I had work today. Did a lot of stuff for work, and yeah, interesting, fun day. It's gonna be good.
Interesting. Like what happened that's interesting and fun today? Like besides the Golden
promotion
Corral.
at work.
A promotion.
So yeah. So before my title, it's constantly changing, right? Because of what I can do essentially at work. So before, when I first joined this company, I was a 3D animator. Then for the Affleck Duck, they're like, your job is the Affleck Duck. And they're like, oh, you can video edit. And I was like, yeah. So then they put me to do motion graphics for bunch of like medicine commercials and stuff like that. And then they're like, oh, we didn't realize you could do that. And then this is the third job title. Third different one at this company. So they just changed it today. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And then of course good food today. And then
great food at Golden Corral.
Yeah, it was good. I really
No,
like.
I'm glad you had a good experience.
You had the so. Is it like my Waffle House? Like I hate Waffle House because of the trash stuff I've been
All right,
having at
so
Waffle House. People are like, no,
I,
it's
I
great.
I used to be okay with Golden Corral, right? I used to be all right with it. Um, my in-laws came into town one time, and they don't have Golden Corral in Vermont, so she was like, I'm excited to try Golden Corral, so we took them to Golden Corral, and we're like, hey, let's have a buffet, let's go for it.
Yeah.
I got some chicken, put it on my plate, a lot, you there get a lot of everything or whatever, but I had some chicken, cut into it, put it in my mouth, didn't really think anything of it. And I realized this is a little weird. Something's off with this.
Oh no.
And I kind of spit it out, and I looked down, and it was, I'm talking about, it was completely fucking raw. Like completely raw.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it was raw as raw can be. And I don't ever get a certain way at a restaurant, right?
Yeah.
But that was like that time where it's just like, I gotta get the fuck out of here, right? And I was like, I can't eat. Like, I just started, right? Give me my money.
Nah.
I'm getting the fuck back out of here, like, or whatever. So I talked to the waiter. I was like, hey, can I just we're gonna leave. So can we just we just got here? Can you just get my money and go? Because or I just wanted to leave it. I don't know if you pay ahead of time or when you leave. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think that's how it worked.
Yeah, I can't remember. Anyway, for some reason I was like, and they were like, oh, you just wanted free food and you just want to leave. I'm like, bitch, look at this fucking chicken. They were just mad at me, and I was like, look at this, and they were like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand. So
yeah,
anyway,
yeah, she said it was Mother's Day and it was just my mom and my dad and was still in Vermont. This man can't tell a story to save his life.
Yeah, okay, so it was just her mom, and it was
okay.
It was the grossest.
I mean, I understand
thing I've ever had.
People keep trying to get me to go to Waffle House again, and it was never.
Yeah,
if I can help it.
I'm sure, I could go back and have a great meal because I've went to Golden Corral several times before that, but it was just that one time it ruins it forever for you,
Yeah, I feel that.
But I'm glad your mom had a good birthday.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
Did she get the chicken, or
she got I mostly had the bread. I didn't even see what she really had. I've seen her. She had some broccoli and some other stuff, but I was focused on my food.
Okay,
my food was great.
I get it. Any seafood?
Definitely not.
What's up, Fuzz? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you guys. No bad seafood stories or dinner stories. Although one thing I will say, as far as when going out to dinner, the only time there's usually a bad time is when my wife makes a custom order for something similar to what I'm getting. So if I ask for salmon, then she wants a salad with salmon on it, kind of thing, then for whatever reason, no matter what restaurant it is, they'll screw it up and give me the salad or undercook mine because it was supposed to be on the salad versus the way I want it with the marinade or something. So it's I usually try to make sure our orders are as different as possible because she likes her steak rare. I can do medium rare. I can't do rare. So it's all right, I want the filet rare or medium rare, and they're like, oh, you want the warm red or the warm pink center or warm? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, just make sure hers is the rare one. Mine is, medium rare. So keep it on there a little bit longer. And it's they always wind up switching it. And I wind up getting the Parmesan crusted top or the sauteed mushrooms. And she just has it go with no type of topping kind of thing. So yeah, that's the only bad stuff when we have overlapping meals kind of thing. But outside of that, been enjoying the I was about to say Outlook, Fallout series, as well as just hopping back into Fallout 4, giving it another try. And TV show definitely got me, excited enough to get back into the game and actually give it a go with some PC mods and um, just playing around or screwing around in it, kind of like what I did with Starfield,
Yeah.
and actually enjoying it this time around. But
It's weird, man.
glad to
Like
be here.
a lot of people are having that experience. Like, I was kind of sick of Fallout. Now I'm like really into it again, you know?
Mhm.
It's just crazy what a good show can do to kind of build that excitement. And like, I think it's a mental thing about the positivity about it. Like everybody like hyped about it, excited. So they're more interested when they're playing instead of going in with like a negative outlook, you know?
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
it definitely helps.
right. That's why like interesting, all the doom and gloom or like the negativity whenever a game comes out that is like, oh, look at this negative aspect of this game, that's all anybody talks about, instead of like the
Mhm.
99% of awesomeness that's there, like loading
Mhm.
screens, or something like that, right? And it's like that, just like, oh yeah, if only I could just enjoy this game, but there's all this fucking loading screens, or some just an example,
Yeah.
you know
There's no other
Mhm.
games like Bethesda
right.
title. So
And,
no,
and
no,
and now people are like that style of game again, when they were just complaining about this style of game not too long ago, saying it was dated. There's all of a sudden this
Imagine that.
resurgence, even from people like IGN and stuff like that, talking about how amazing this is. Like, I don't know, man. It's just weird, the world we live in, where people's minds just consistently flip flop and change based on the algorithm of clicks.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like, what do other people think about this thing? That you know, the doom and gloom narrative has been kind of exhausting. Like I said this before, but I really feel like a lot of people in this community do not enjoy games. Um, like they really don't. Like you look at what they are actually playing based on what they're talking about, and I mean they're just not playing
Yeah.
these games, but they're constantly just like, oh, I hate this thing and I hate this thing, and like I don't know. I
Yeah, a lot of
enjoy
people sure do
playing a
hate a lot of
variety of
shit.
games. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, unfortunately, a lot of hate does drive clicks and things like that. But I just enjoy Game Pass and games in general, but Game Pass specifically because it allows me to try different genres of games that I normally wouldn't have tried, and because my life is so busy, it does open up that avenue to so I don't have to buy those games and then like, oh, I just spent $70, I have to buy this. Like, no, I'm playing for a price of a subscription. But it is unfortunate that a lot of the community is starting to go in that route. Because
Yeah.
like, what is it actually about? Like, should be about the games.
Well, you're going
What
to
you
see a
enjoy out
positive
of them.
trend. Like, we're about to enter positive season,
We're about to, yeah.
you know?
Showcase this season is coming,
The
and then people
negativity
will be like, "Oh
always
wow!"
seems to like be more in full force when there's less to talk about, right? Because people like tend to like focus on like the things that they can drum up for conversation, you know?
Right.
And it's like, "Oh, what's wrong with this?" Or like, "Oh, this is horrible." Or like, "Why is this that way?" And like it just gets repetitive and boring, and like, yeah, I don't know.
Is
I
Xbox dead, Mav?
No, it never
Are they
was,
dead?
man. Like that's why
But they put games in other consoles,
I
so
don't
it's dead.
give a fuck, honestly. Like I it's like I that's the thing. Like I hope people remember, like, even just as far as, or as soon as this holiday season, right? After the year that Xbox has had at that point, which people out there were consistently dooming and glooming the community over the Xbox brand, and which people just completely ignored all that and just we're running with the actual information, right? And I hope people remember these things. But they very forgetful.
Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay
Yeah,
to like.
it's okay.
I think people might mix this up. Like, it's okay if something is negative. We talk about something negative. That's not what
Criticism's
we're
fair.
talking
Yeah.
about. Criticism is completely fair. I mean, these are $1 trillion corporations. They don't care about our opinion either way. That's not what we're talking about. That's not necessarily what we're talking about. We're talking about the bigger picture of what actually matters at the end of the day as a gamer. Knowing that Sony doesn't care about you, Xbox doesn't care about you. Now, you could be a fan of the brand.
Yeah.
Like I'm a fan of how Xbox treats me as a customer. And them not charging me, like Fallout, for example, they just had an update that on Sony side, they would have charged me for that
Well,
update.
PlayStation players get that update for free too.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah.
you know, but it's just stuff like that. That's why I like the Xbox brand and things like that. But yeah, it's just the negativity of other things, or where it's basically like Xbox is dead now. I hate the brand. I'm never playing another Xbox game again because they put Hi-Fi Rush on another. But just this stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with.
Or we're about to get Hellblade 2, then we're going to have Summer Showcase, then we're going to have a crazy stacked second half of the year. We're going to have ABK represented for the first time, really, with a bunch of releases into Game Pass. Then also a big Call of Duty release at the end of the year as well. Like, you're going to start to see that flip. You already kind of have now with recent articles being written about game preservation for Xbox and the hype around the game previews for Hellblade 2 and stuff.
Yeah, people are gonna forget once these games sort of come out. Like, oh, the hype will be back, and they'll forget a lot of this sort of drama.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep up that energy when you start seeing like more Indiana Jones trailers, and then like when Hellblade comes out, and then like see if you could keep that same energy that Xbox is dead when you start seeing trailers for like Perfect Dark. Or
it's interesting because like there's always going to be the people in the community that are going to try and do that, but like this year it was just so overwhelming, like because it was like the Xbox community like just flipped, like that, and fractured. It's like, oh, nothing else going on, let's just all go crazy, for a little while. It's panic season. January through like March for Xbox was like panic season this year. It was really weird. But now we're in positive Fallout show. Fallout numbers are doing great. More people are playing Fallout right now than Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is a big PlayStation exclusive. And in fact, I actually saw Jeff Grubb's tweet earlier that more people bought Pikmin than Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Pikmin 4. I mean, that's crazy. And you can't blame the exclusivity because both of those games are exclusive, right? And that's what I kind of want to start with, like, on this, and maybe we'll start with Fuzz, because this is interesting. What has Square done to the Final Fantasy brand to cause the point to where now the sequel to the Final Fantasy VII Remake, the part 2 of Final Fantasy VII Remake, one of the most requested games of all time. I liked Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1. For some reason, I didn't have the necessity to go out there, and I didn't feel the need to go buy Rebirth, right? Like, what's happened to Final Fantasy to this point? Final Fantasy 16 sales were below expectations. The Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is way below what the first game did. You have Dragon's Dogma 2, which was a way less known and exciting IP, absolutely dominating in that space. And you have the king of JRPGs, Final Fantasy, struggling to find the audience that they used to have. Like, why did this happen?
I think there's a couple of moving targets out there as far as why. Like, one of the big ones, at least from what I can see, is that it's, Rebirth was only on PS5. Um, versus Remake being on PS4, I think PS5 as well as PC, although I think PC came later, but they still had enough excitement between the PS4 and PS5, which I think there's still a good number of people still on the previous gen consoles. Um, those sales were what, like, I think 2.5 or 3 mil within the first couple of days, versus this one is almost a month now, and it's not even to that level a month later. Um, I think some of the fan base may have moved up to PC because they are starting to realize, graphically it's going to be the best place to play. For the visuals, for the frame rates, all of that. PC is going to be, if you want the best of the best of the best, and you have the budget for it, people would have upgraded to a PC at this point, and they might just say, you know what, the first one was great, but I'll wait for a sale, or I'll wait for the completed series, or all of the parts to it, before I buy the rest of it. Buy it as like a complete edition or the definitive edition, or something to that effect. I think those are the key things that will kind of make it so they may get the numbers that they want later, but I don't know. I think another thing is, with 16, they kind of changed from their traditional formula. They try to make it more actiony or more action RPG than RPG, which some people like, but I guess the true fans, the fans that are there for day one and pre-orders and stuff like that, some of them were a little less, enthused about that. The Devil May Cry mechanic works for a lot of people, but not necessarily their core fans. Even though Rebirth isn't that, but I think people are starting to kind of like, maybe Final Fantasy needs a break, or something to
Yeah.
that effect. But the
Mm.
$70 price isn't helping them. Only on PS5, no PC port, no PS4 port, isn't helping. Um, Square's not helping their case in any regard. But I think with new management now, maybe that will change. Maybe they will port it to PC sooner rather than later. Same thing with 16. Maybe when Switch 2 comes out, maybe they consider that being available over there on Switch 2. I don't know if the current
Yeah.
Switch can run it, but yeah, it sucks. A lot of people were talking about support the devs, and you should be buying these games, and it turns out they're not buying these games. I mean, sure, some people will say it's a niche, but as old as Final Fantasy is, and I've had like conversations earlier on other podcasts where it's like, when you say they, even Square is saying it hasn't met expectations or sold less than expected. It doing 2 or 2.5 mil by some standards wouldn't be bad, but for that particular
Not for
IP, it's
that
bad.
game. Like,
Yeah.
like,
I mean, Dragon's Dogma is a little different. That one I think did 2 million within a short period of time, like within a week or whatever. But the difference is, this is only the second Dragon's, well, technically the second in the series, but of three releases, versus Final Fantasy, where they're at like, if you can count all the side content, I think they're at what, 18 or 19, releases overall within that universe.
yeah.
So maybe it's time to take a bit of a break, or just, I don't know. Consider putting it in more places. And I understand Sony made it difficult for them to even consider putting it on Xbox, but putting it on PC would be the next logical thing. I mean,
Yeah.
there is an audience there. I mean, it was obvious with the other one where they still got the sales, even though they made the PC crowd, I think, wait a year or something like that with a remake. So
I mean,
I don't
it's
know.
highly rated, right? One of the highest rated games of the
Mhm.
year so far. Lived up to expectations from gamers who were really excited for it, you know? Um, it's just hard to pinpoint why or what's going on to make that game not successful like other games. But like then I think about, has any Square exclusive on PlayStation done well?
Not Foam Stars, that's for sure.
Yeah, Foam Stars didn't, right? I'm trying to
Mhm.
think. Final Fantasy 16 was below expectations.
Mhm.
I mean, maybe the first Final Fantasy 7 Part 1, I had that one, but that was on last generation. Like this gen with the Square deals there at Babylon's Fall, like they had to shut that they had to shut the servers
It's a
down.
coaster.
Yeah,
Crazy.
online only
Yeah.
game. They shut the servers down in less than a year.
Huh.
Like
It's like
Forspoken,
for
that didn't meet
Forspoken didn't meet.
expectations
Yeah, and
either.
that's another one. Yeah, I was trying to think. I knew there was one more there. But like
I mean, they shut
this
down their
generation, it's like,
entire Western.
you can really think maybe it's all exclusives on PlayStation this generation for the most part. Besides like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I think Horizon's doing okay. Like Forbidden West. Besides that, there's several of them that just didn't sell very well.
Yeah.
And
All of them perform lower than their previous versions, but like God of War did well. Horizon, I think some of the help was the pack-ins
yeah,
or the bundles, but nonetheless, it's on PC now as well. So that's going to help things. But yeah, selling 50 million consoles doesn't mean you're going to sell 50
50 million
million.
games.
You
Yeah.
know, yeah. I mean, if you were Nintendo, maybe you do that.
Would
Maybe
hell
you even
would
sell more than 50 million. But
would
yeah,
Helldivers be what it is? Helldivers 2 be what it is if it wasn't on PC?
if it wasn't on PC, I hate it would already be dead. I think the studio would be closed and the servers would be off by now, or
The game
within
just came
6
out a
months.
couple
No,
months ago.
like
I mean, maybe I don't know, but like that's crazy.
I
Yeah.
don't want to see. I wish the numbers were
Yeah.
more public or whatever, but it almost feels like it's like out of every 10 players, 8 of them are PC.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little bit better now where because it is picking up momentum, the word of mouth is spreading, so more PS5 guys are going to start hopping in. But
Right.
I wouldn't. I don't
If
think
that
it's
hype never was
anywhere
there to
close
begin
to
with,
6-4 kind
yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
I know what you mean, like, because the PC community has really embraced it and like carried it and helped. I mean, server capacities are maxing out, things going crazy, and it's had this like amazing run of consistency now, right? But I'm curious the percentages there, and yeah, but I think the hype and success of that game does help the PS5 version as well. But if that PC version never existed in the first place, how would it be doing for like a online game as a PS5 exclusive? And like I think maybe if anything that should teach PlayStation a lesson, and also other companies who are looking to do exclusive games on PlayStation as for the console only, especially if you're like an online game, like I really think you got to do at least PC and PlayStation at the same time.
Yeah, they should. Like and it also doesn't help the sentiment. Like, let's say people like me who would maybe dive into Final Fantasy on another console like Xbox. Like, I'm thinking about diving into it, and I'm like, oh, but is the other ones on Xbox, or will the future ones? You never know, because the history there is inconsistent. So whenever they do dive in to put like a Final Fantasy game on Xbox, you're like, you're kind of dipping your toe in it too, because you're just like, will me investing into this game, will it be guaranteed that it stays here? Like the next game, if I really like this game, will the next one be on? And you don't know. And that's the problem that they've kind of set for themselves, like with their games. And they always have Square Enix has terrible mentality of basically being like, oh, our games are not selling enough. We need to do better for the next one, and then you restrict it to one ecosystem, or this and consoles. As much as I love playing consoles, is my preferred way of playing. It is the smallest ecosystem out of all other ecosystems. You have mobile, which is about almost probably the most amount of people are on mobile, and then you got PC, which is right under that, and then consoles. So you're fighting for the same amount of people who might or might not be interested in your game each year, and it just it's they're kind of doing it to themselves because at one point people started to realize like, oh, Final Fantasy is kind of like that can be a multi-platform type game. People can associate it with PlayStation, sure, has a heavy history with PlayStation, but like, oh, maybe it start to be multi-platform, but no, they keep taking these deals that in the short run, yes, cool, you get more money upfront, but what does that do to the long term of your game? Like, how does that actually affect your sales in the long run? And I actually looked up all the different Final Fantasy games, and what sales they've made. Their best-selling one was probably Final Fantasy X, which got 20.80 million according to VG charts.
Ooh, that's
Um,
a lot.
and their new one, XVI, 3 million. 7 remake was 7 million. Um, 15 did pretty well. That was 10 million. Online 1.45 million, and it just goes down. Basically, like from after 10, it was 1 million, uh 7 million, 1 million, 1 million, 10. It's just unfortunate because the Final Fantasy franchise does have a lot of potential. Um, but Square Enix just keeps making dumb decisions. Like for me, I don't I'm not really into the Final Fantasy franchise or universe. I do like Kingdom Hearts, but what Square Enix could have done for me as a customer, and sure there's a lot of other people that's maybe more casual that this will apply to as well. But their Western division, where they focused on stuff like Avengers, other types of games that aren't um based on something like Final Fantasy, they
Mhm.
could have just gotten that audience, and they didn't really appreciate their Western division, because that could have brought you a different side, like a different metric. Like if you're just like constantly just like, okay, Final Fantasy, the next one, the next one, like it's niche in the point that some people they love Final Fantasy. They will always invest in Final Fantasy, but there's some people who will never dive into Final Fantasy that probably would have dove into something like Avengers, you know,
Right.
because and unfortunately, when they sold off all their Western studios, are like, well, that was dumb. Like, okay. Like you sold off another metric of your audience that could have jumped into your company, and now you're just making the same type of games. So it's a bunch of different problems that's going on with Square Enix. It's like they're restricting their audience to just the PlayStation base. That's one problem. Final Fantasy is like a series that's pretty big, so it could benefit from the PC audience. And the PC audience, they are stubborn, right? If you decide to release your game later on, they're just like, like you got to ride
Yeah.
your game while if it's hot. Um, like as soon as you release your game, it should be on PC as well. They will respect that way more than you releasing it year, 2 years later. And unfortunately, PlayStation has a history of doing that, and it always shows in the sales of what I'm saying. Like it's not going to sell as well as if you did it day one. So you're running into just a bunch of different issues that doesn't need to happen because you love that quick money that PlayStation is giving you. Like, oh, we'll give you like 2 million to keep it on PlayStation. Like, okay, sure, that's good in the short term. Like that's a lot of money, yeah. But in the long term, you're kind of hinging on what Final Fantasy or your franchises could be. Especially, and this is a different time as well. Like a lot of people are branching out to different ecosystems, and I mean, PlayStation has already admitted that they want to start putting more games on PC, and why do you think they want to do that? It's just more people that you can access. There's more people on PC than console, so you're only damaging yourself. Like if I was ahead of Square Enix, I would be like, okay, anymore. Like that. That
Yeah.
would be my motto. Start changing people's mindsets that every Final Fantasy going forward is just it's on PC, it's on Xbox. Like that way you start getting people interested in the franchise. Like I personally wouldn't invest in the Final Fantasy franchise because I don't know where it's just going to say on PlayStation. Like I have a PlayStation, but that's not my preferred platform. Um, so like goodness, I don't want to invest in the Final Fantasy franchise, me personally, just because it's not.
Yeah,
I don't
you
know
like
where the heck it's
lost
going.
interest kind of because
Yeah,
yeah. I've
and
been
I'm sure
saying
a
that
lot
for
of
a
people
long
feel that way.
time. It's like mismanagement of IP by
Yep.
a multi-platform publisher, like diminishing what it can be, right? Like, would Call of Duty be what it is if they only released on one platform for all these years? You know,
Not
or
at all.
you
It
know,
doesn't matter how good it is, too.
I know
You
it
know.
was crazy popular on PlayStation for a long time and made like number one game, but like it still wouldn't be as big as it is today for sure. Like I and Final Fantasy, like and you're probably too young to even remember this 3-bit, like,
Yeah.
but Fuzzy remembers. I know because he's old as fuck like me, right? But back in the day, like when Final Fantasy VII came out, like there was a lot of hype for that game to come out because people are already into Final Fantasy. But when Final Fantasy VII came out, I was like, oh my god, yeah, we're gonna get like the best JRPG ever, and it delivered. And then every release for the Final Fantasy through 10 was a massive fucking deal, right? It was a massive deal. You're talking about marketing everywhere. You're talking about everybody talking about it. Just hype out the ass because like this is Final fucking Fantasy. It's like, oh my god, it's so amazing. And then some of us had our favorites within those games. Final Fantasy 11 came out and it was like, oh, it's MMO Final Fantasy, and it had its struggles at first, but it really uh, became a successful MMO. Then 12 came out, right? And 12 was also had that hype, but like people were like, oh, they're changing, you know? 12 is the first one where they really kind of like, we're going more actiony a little bit, right? And some didn't like it, some liked it, and overall it was still a great Final Fantasy game, I think. And then you had 13 come out, and then it started to feel like, for me, a little bit, like the name of Final Fantasy and like what it was like getting too big for Square, and they didn't know how to deliver. So they started to try and like push things so far forward that they lost the plot of what the games were in the first place, right? And it was always like, this is gonna be the most amazing JRPG thing you've ever experienced, and we're pushing boundaries, we're gonna change things, and this is the kind of experience that you've never had before. But it's like, I just want a great fucking Final Fantasy JRPG game, please, and they stopped doing that. Then they had 14. Then there was the whole like Final Fantasy Versus thing. Like they just never knew how to market, or we never knew what to expect or what was coming. And then 15 came out and it just shat all over the entire fucking thing. Like and for a lot of people that was their first Final Fantasy game and they liked it.
Yeah,
But
that was one of my first.
for traditionalists that played like,
That's the boy band one.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my first.
Stand by Me game. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for like people that grew up with Final Fantasy and like had fallen in love with that franchise, it was like, what the fuck is this? Like that was okay, I guess. I mean, there has the music in it, and it has chocobos, and it has the spiky hair and stuff, But like, it was missing a lot of the flavor of like what a Final Fantasy game is, and then 16. It's the most action game I've ever played in the Final Fantasy series that wasn't marketed as an action game, right? Like spin-off. This is a mainline game. And I just think they've just tried to go so big with this You talk about the budgets for making these games too are just absolutely astronomical. Taking the money from PlayStation because PlayStation knows it's a big marketing thing for them to have those games exclusive, and they just, for me, it's almost like they just kind of ruined the franchise. Like just complete mismanagement, ruining the franchise. You still have your fans, you still have your player base, but you took something that was like I don't know, like what every JRPG would try to be. You know,
I
they
wouldn't
took that.
consider it like people want it to still be like I'm not fully in tune with the Square Enix fan base, but a lot of people want it to be more turn-based, like kind of what it was
Yeah,
before,
I don't even know if it has to be like.
or
It's
no.
just because there's other games like, okay, so look at like Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, right?
Right.
Like Tales of Arise, you know, or other games. Like a lot of games kind of like aren't necessarily doing just turn based or this or that, but they are still staying true more to what a JRPG is, you know, and in a traditional sense in their own way. And it seems like just Final Fantasy has just kind of lost the plot of that and to try and be something else as opposed to just what they were. And I just want to play a damn good actual Final Fantasy game. And I honestly feel like I haven't gotten that. And I don't know, it's been way too long. Final Fantasy Part 1 was kind of that, but it still was like, it was like they're trying to be way too big, like for the cinematics and stuff, and like the things that were important just kind of don't matter anymore. And then you add into the fact that like it's only on PlayStation, as well. So it's like, okay, pay $70 for Rebirth and of something that I've just kind of lost interest in now. I don't know, it just doesn't excite me like it used to.
Yeah.
And instead, those games like Grand Blue Fantasy Relink that are way less budget, like scratch that itch that as a gamer that I was looking for, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I
So
kind
I
of
don't know.
lost interest when they were like, it's too hard to put a black person in a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
stupid.
that was like insane to me.
Hey, look
That's
at
when
this
I started.
dragon. Oh, look at these summons. Oh, we got
Well, like,
Bahamut here breathing fire on all of us. Oh,
freaking
this is unrealistic here for our world. Like, what?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. It was like too unrealistic. I was like, really? I was like, okay, okay. But like, that was just like I been kind of tiptoeing in Final Fantasy universe for a bit. Like I enjoyed the boy band one, the one a lot of people didn't like. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool.
yeah,
Because that was kind of like my first kind of one, so I didn't have the other ones to compare it to. Really, I still don't really. Um, and then I played a little bit of 7 remake, which I enjoyed what I played. Um,
yeah.
and that's pretty much all I really played. I think I played a little bit of 10 on the PS2. It was like 10-2 or something.
Yeah.
It's just
Final
so many
Fantasy
different games.
10 even had its detractors, but like I loved it. It was still a traditional Final Fantasy game. It for me it's like probably my second favorite after 7.
Yeah.
And I know some of you don't like Blitzball. But let me tell you, like if they sold a Blitzball game today, I would fucking buy it.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That
yeah. I've
was
seen like
that was a sport.
cinematics of that, I
Yeah,
think.
it was a
Yeah.
sport within Final Fantasy 10. Um that you played is so good, dude. Could have been its own game.
And that I mean, it always reminded me of the game in Hogwarts, which I really I guess they're making a spin-off game where it has that mode, but
Yeah.
dang, I'm excited for that actually. That's the one thing Hogwarts needed was that they like tease it to you. It's like right there. Just make it
Yeah.
playable. But all
I
good.
agree. Yeah, we'll see. I think Final Fantasy as a IP has always a chance to still do great things and stuff. It's just it's kind of sad to see them struggle for sales on and to get outsold like Grub said by Pikmin 4.
Yeah. To reel it back, that's pretty insane considering at one point whenever people mention it, and this is the console war thing, right? Where a lot of people are like, Final Fantasy is gonna outsell everything, it's gonna be the best, and then it comes out, and then you get beat by Pikmin.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Like who's seen that coming? But Nintendo does sell really well, like most of the time. But it's just crazy to think about because at one point, like Final Fantasy was considered like that system seller type game, and now the sales are going down each year, which
Yeah.
it could be a result of a couple things. All the things I mentioned before, for sure, like their management, them not taking PC seriously, as putting things as an afterthought, all those things for sure. But it could also be like a lot of people are playing those specific sort of games nowadays, like this Call of Duty, Roblox, Fortnite, stuff like that. That as well. Like the casual audience, they don't really play. The casual audience is not playing Final Fantasy. I'll tell you that.
I just saw this tweet from J Rock that you had posted in our DMs.
Yeah,
Because I saw
that
Steel.
has the info.
I saw Steel's response and I was like, oh, what did he respond to? And I saw that because Steel just went, fuck. But shout out to Steel. I'm gonna read these numbers because this is for Japan, right? This is kind of the heartbeat of like what would drive the success, I think, of a game like this also. Because ultimately, like the audience, like
I want to add that so
gonna
you can
draw the
see
hype,
what the sale numbers are.
Yeah, so this was from J Rock posted this, and he took a screenshot from somebody else. I'm not exactly sure who. So, but this is in Japan. Final Fantasy sales over time. Okay, Final Fantasy VII had 2 million. Final Fantasy VIII 2.5. Again, this is just Japan. Okay. Japan's not usually the super high in sales in game sales anyway. So these are actually really impressive. 2.5 for 8. 9 had 1.9. 10 had 1.7. 10.2 had 1.4. 12 had 1.8. 13, 1.5. 13.2, 600,000. 13, Lightning Returns was 300,000. Then you have some of the new mainline ones. Okay, so 15, 700,000. 7 Remake, 700,000. 16, 330,000.
Yep.
And 7 Rebirth, 262,000.
Yep. So it went from having 2 million to 200,000.
Crisis Core on the PSP sold more than Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
It's so crazy.
Dirge of Cerberus on PS2, which was like, I don't even remember what that was, but it's a Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII. I don't even know what Dirge of Cerberus is. I don't even remember it. So 365,000 comparatively to the 262,000 in Japan for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So you go from like Final Fantasy 8, 2.5 mil, right? No, obviously it's had a lot more time to achieve sales.
Yeah.
But like the bulk of game sales are within the first year.
These are launch sales, it says.
Launch sales?
These are the comparing other.
Oh,
Final
fuck.
Fantasy
These are launch sales? Oh, this is even worse. Okay. Holy shit. You're right. It does say launch sales.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is accurate. Fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
if this is accurate, then that makes it.
From Final Fantasy VIII, which we're talking about, how I was talking about the amount of hype back then and everything, you know, it's like 10% of the same amount of sales that they would get back then in that era. 10%.
And the gaming industry has grown since then, so it has more people.
Yeah.
But I mean, people can find different interests in different genres for sure. But that's wow.
Maybe maybe the play or the gamers in Japan change their preference as
You know,
far as the game type,
Dragon
or
Quest
maybe
and Kingdom Hearts, those games still do fucking crazy numbers.
Yeah,
These
no,
other games are still doing crazy numbers, Fuzzy. Like, it's just, I
yeah.
think that's why I was saying it's more than even just the exclusivity, though. Like, I feel like Square Enix just fucked over the Final Fantasy brand. And they
Yeah.
they kind of ruined it. Like, I think maybe they got a big head about being that tentpole kind of
So
game,
when
you know?
when you say that, so I listed all the stuff I think management wise, like why I'm not interested. But for people who are really invested in the Final Fantasy franchise, would you say what would you say like turn people off from Final Fantasy? Is it the fact that it's no longer turn based? It's basically just an action game, and people are expecting more role play role playing elements in Final Fantasy? Like, what would you say? Because I don't really play Final Fantasy, um, but some of the people maybe in chat and whatever, people who like love Final Fantasy. Like, what is the thing that you love about like Final Fantasy VII that the new ones definitely don't have? Is it just because it's more action based? That's basically not even like an RPG
They don't feel like
anymore.
yeah, they don't feel like
Is that what
RPGs
it is?
anymore, you know? Like
Yeah.
back in the day, those Final Fantasy games had so many things you could do. Right? It wasn't just the story. The story has stayed strong for the most part within Final Fantasy games, but it's
Mhm.
everything else that has like gone by the wayside. Yeah, they're pretty to look at now, right? Graphics has been great. Story is good. But like
Yeah.
everything else is kind of like eh. So it's become kind of boring and less deep, and less ways to spend your time finding things to do and fun.
Yeah.
It used to be games where you could
I
just
enjoyed
spend
15. And Alvin
yeah.
or Alvin in chat is like he was saying like he likes remake, rebirth, and 16. Like I just don't know like because people have expectations of a brand like let's say for Halo like people have very strong expectations for what the next Halo is based on previous Halos. So like for Final Fantasy, if the new ones are more action based, maybe the sale I'm just trying to think because these are huge sale drops, right? Like we went from 2 million to like 300,000. So I'm trying to think besides the management, if the games itself, if that was a big thing for people, like it's no longer like an RPG, then dang. To me that I would play either way. Like those type of games, it's just the franchise itself, just because it's up and down on different platforms. I
Yeah.
haven't dove into it, but
I've
yeah,
lost
I don't
the
know.
feeling that I had back then for them, and it's not. I don't think it's
Yeah,
just me. I think it's like just the way the games are presented and things now. Like it just
right.
doesn't
It has to be
hit
something,
it
right? I
doesn't
mean,
hit
these
the same.
sale drops are huge,
Yeah,
so
but
it could be a result
I
of the
don't think it's a
time.
genre issue. I mean, because we
Mm,
see like some of these other games like take off. You know, I'm curious
yeah.
to see how Final Fantasy Tactics does. If it's actually going to end up releasing and its multi-platform comes out everywhere and they kind of go big on it. I'm not expecting it to be like 20 million sales or anything like that, but like from people that had like tactics games, it's like the gold standard for a lot of us from that
Mm,
era, right? And that's been the one they haven't re-released yet. That was part of the Nvidia leaks. There was more rumors earlier this year that it was real and it was coming and it was going to actually release on all platforms potentially. So if that's legitimate, I think that has a chance to actually potentially exceed the mainline Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which would
right.
be pretty crazy for a tactics game. But I don't know. We got to see how it is or what they deliver with that. Um,
Yeah. And to Alvin's point, like he just said he think the one number one reason for slow sales is the same amount of games to play in quarter one 2024. Yes, but my whole point was like at one point Final Fantasy was that game that a lot of people would go to in the past, like of like this is the game for to buy your console for,
yeah,
but it's not that anymore, I guess. And 2023 was insane. I will say that. If you released a game last year, last year was insane. Like
Yeah.
the amount of games last year, I am curious if 2024 will beat it. I think just seeing what's coming out this year, it does have the potential, but there was a lot of good games that came out last year alone. So
Yeah, there's a lot of
let
great
alone
games
this.
this year too. And like we've seen these games that are different genres be that game that just dominates the year. Like Hogwarts Legacy came out early in the year. Also, Elden Ring had come out early in the year. Um, and this was kind of like wasn't a. We've had a lot of great games earlier this year, but a lot of great games sold really well early this year too. You know,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
for that one not to, that's probably the biggest name out of all the releases that have happened early this year, and for it to lag behind the others in sales is interesting. It just shows that it doesn't carry that weight, you know, like it used to. But interesting, nonetheless. Want to get into the thumbnail topic,
Mm.
Iron Man. Now that this is
I
gonna
haven't
be
heard anything of this.
yeah. So there was this isn't surprising to me, but it went around today. But I guess based on a job posting or something like that, or a LinkedIn profile. I don't know exactly where it came from, but the that it is open world. It's not just like an action adventure games. This is being made by EA Motive, and a lot of us are hoping they just kind of make the Anthem style, right? But it is at least confirmed that we're getting it in some. It was not confirmed officially by them, but based on this job posting, is a open world AAA action game. So we're gonna be getting to fly around as Iron Man here. I'm curious though how much potential this game has. Like, is Iron Man like? Is this like 7 years too late? Potentially, or when did Endgame come out? Like in 2020 or 2019, something like that. 2018. I don't even fucking remember.
Mm. So the last Iron Man game?
No, the Endgame. When did Endgame come out?
Oh,
Or it hasn't been that
uh,
long ago. Was it 20? Was it? It wasn't during COVID. It was before COVID, right?
Yeah.
2019.
Yeah, 2019. So it's been 4 years. Man,
Yeah.
if they had released an Iron Man game immediately after Endgame came out, oh, dude. You talk about how TV shows and movies and stuff have like a big impact on things. That would have been one of the most hyped and excited for games, like, period, right? But now we're getting into maybe it'll be next year or the year after that. There's rumors about Robert Downey Jr. coming back as an appearance in Iron Man as well in one of the upcoming movies. But I'm curious, like, how big this game can be. I know Steel Rain's gonna be super excited because he's a huge Iron Man fan. But I think this is gonna be an important one for EA to get right. But it is confirmed based on that job posting. Open world. What do you
Hmm.
what do you think this game could be, Fuzz? Do you think that this could actually do numbers with Iron Man? It's not Spider Man. It's Iron Man. You know, like
Yeah. As long as they carry over, and this is going to sound like a broken record, but as long as they carry over the Anthem flying mechanic, just don't have it where it overheats so fast, kind of thing. Although upgrades could always, resolve that. But as long as it feels like the way they did Anthem, oh yeah, this is. I think if people mention that, and that was like the highlight of Anthem, that will sell it in itself. Iron Man name will carry it. I don't think it's going to do like the first Spider-Man numbers where it's 20 million plus kind of range, or 30 million, I think. But it will probably do north of 11 million. Like it'll get close to 20, but I don't think it'll be over 20. Because that's a character that people have wanted a game for so long, and I think there was like a VR game, and it wasn't. It was one of those VR experiences as opposed to an actual game that was built from the ground up as a VR game kind of thing. So, I, yeah, I think if EA gets the flying part right and the shooting part right, which they can, they're pretty good at that with what the talent they have in all their studios and stuff. But the flying stuff. If they get that, if they nail it, this is an easy hit for them. That then they'll probably regret not getting more Disney and Marvel IPs for upcoming
Yeah.
stuff. I think they still have the Black Panther one in the works as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a Black Panther game, not the one that Skydance is doing. But this Iron Man game, just give me the Anthem flying mechanic. I'm golden. That's all I want.
Just fly around as Iron Man. I think they are helping a little bit now. EA Motiviz with Battlefield, right? And but they also are no longer working on Dead Space 2 remake. Instead, now they're just primarily focusing on this game. So I think it has a good chance to be really good. I just don't know when it's gonna come. Like, when is it gonna come out? Like, I don't think it's this year. Like, it's probably like 2026, maybe.
If they got a job listing that's fairly recent up there, I'm thinking add 3 years to today at a minimum. Kind of like
So either this will be a
2027.
next gen game for
Either
Xbox,
next
at
gen or
least.
cross gen.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this is probably cross gen, which hopefully they have, whatever hardware that Xbox is working on already, or at least a hint of, what the PC equivalent spec would be, so they can build out for that.
Right.
Thank you.
Now you have a history with Marvel also, 3-bit.
Yeah. I mean, my dad
Does
more so, but I'll let me.
right.
Yeah.
Do you I mean, does it surprise you obviously that this is open world? Because this has been news that's going around, but I don't know how you could do an Iron Man game and not have it open world. That would just kind of suck to me.
Yeah.
But does this surprise you at all?
It does a little bit. I do wonder how it's gonna work. Like, I was just thinking of Iron Man's villains, how, like, mechanics wise, like um how they're planning on, like, if he gets into like the Hulkbuster armor and things like that. That could be really cool. I'm guessing the villain they'll probably go for, because Iron Man, like, Spider-Man has his own villains, Thor has his own villains technically, and Iron Man has his own villains. Which his main big one is the Mandarin.
Yeah.
And the Mandarin has all those different rings, and each ring has like different powers, like ice and what have you. Um, I don't know how they're going to do the minions around the city, because if you do open world, you have to solve different problems, right? You
Right.
can't just fly around the world and then there's nothing to do. So that usually means there's going to be some threat to the city. Maybe it's Mandarin's goons, and you basically can attack them. Um, I'm just wondering how they're gonna flesh that out and make it fun. If they, what Fuzzy said, that was exactly what I was thinking. The flying mechanic in Anthem was like perfect. Like, that was awesome. So they just got to do that. I mean, they have the layout. Just do that. Do some cool, like, gadgets and upgrade system is also going to be really big. Like how you upgrade your suits and stuff to make you feel powerful but not too powerful, so that your upgrades feel meaningful. These are things I'm glad that I don't have to solve these problems, because, like, an open world Iron Man game means you have to basically solve a lot of different little things to make it fun and last for a while. Maybe what they'll do is introduce like other Spider-Man, like other characters in there jumping in. Maybe not Spider-Man, because Sony will
Hulk
have
would make sense, so you could use the Hulkbuster armor, right?
Yeah, that could be cool. Maybe a mission where he Mandarin like confuses him or something, and then you have to attack Hulk, and then you have to get the Hulkbuster armor. That could be cool.
I
Uh,
They could also do what's the Hammer guy? His name's Hammer, and he's like builds the tech that copies pretty much Iron Man's and
oh
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I think it was Guy Pearce that played him in the movie. Yeah, so they could do that and have a bunch of enemy Iron Man type characters flying around too.
It's true. They could take
Um,
the Stark technology and have you fight other Iron Man, but I hate fighting robots. I hope they don't do
yeah,
that.
but you are a robot in the well, not really. You're a
As
man
long as
in a
I'm a
robot
robot,
suit, but
that's fine.
Mhm.
But whenever I have to fight like enemies and then I shoot and just sparks come out,
yeah.
it
But
just
there's
never
flesh
does it for
in
me.
those suits, most of them.
Yeah,
Well, some
but
of
EA
them,
is not. They're
most
not
of them,
gonna
no,
go
no,
there.
because they also have the
Well, if they do
unmanned
that,
ones.
Mav, if I can like shoot off their armor and then you could see like his arm, and then I
Yeah,
shoot his arm and it's like, then awesome.
that'd be
But
cool. Yeah.
that would be awesome if they do that.
Is there any fucking chance we get to play as War Machine? Also,
Ooh, mate, if they do co-op, I know people be afraid of co-op, but
see,
that
that's the
would be
thing
sick.
though. That's like you say, "Oh, I love only single player," right? And then when people say, "Oh, this game's gonna be co-op," people are all like, "Oh, it's gonna be like a live service game or something like that," right?
No, I would love it. It's other people. Don't listen to them. Like this is what I've been telling Insomniac. I'm like, bro, Spider-Man 2, what would make it good? Co-op. And we seen that they tried, and Sony was like, nah, that's too hard. We don't like
Yeah.
multiplayer.
I don't want the situation where I'm flip flopping between the two fucking characters. Like that's one thing that turns me
Why
off
not?
from the Spider-Man 2 because they have both.
Oh yeah.
I don't even want to honestly like I'm gonna play it later probably when it's like really cheap. I think,
Mhm.
but like it just both characters are in the fucking game and you can't go together like with your friend.
Yeah.
I
They did the
don't know. It just
GTA
turns me off.
5 tactic, but as a really main mission thing. It really could have benefited. Like my main problem with Spider-Man 2 is it felt very similar to the first, but it was like it needed more ambition. Like it was just a DLC expanded pretty much. It did have some cool moments. It was very buggy for me, but one thing that it would have pushed it to that other level for me would have been something like a co-op. Like
Yeah.
imagine how cool it would have been to have you and your friends swinging around the city. You're fighting some crime over here in this part of the city, and then you're fighting over here because in the game they have these moments where like you're fighting and then you see Miles fighting too.
Mhm.
He's like beating up some bad guys, and then after you guys um defeat all the bad guys, you have an option to like high five him or something.
Yeah.
Like you could have just made that like co-op. That would have been so cool. You can like you can do your own thing, and yeah, just a missed opportunity. So for Iron Man, I would love a co-op feature. Have two different Iron Men around the city. I don't know how they would make that work story wise or what. Maybe it's just such a huge threat that they get some of the Avengers. You play
Yeah.
as War Machine and they're busy in another part of the city or something. Um yeah, I don't know, but maybe you playing as Warhammer, me playing as Iron Man or something, that could be a cool co-op thing for sure.
Yeah. It just seems like it should be right. Like there. I kind of picture the game and like how they could really show it off the gameplay for the first time, you know, to get that hype and excitement. So you go and you have like show the gameplay. You're Iron Man. You're flying around and like you go into like a city and you start blowing shit up and fucking up the bad guys and stuff. And there's like, and everybody's already like, oh man, that was amazing, yeah. And like, let's say they actually have great voice actor to really do well and all this kind of stuff, and people are really hyped, you know. And then at the end, right? You're like,
Mm.
oh, and we have one more thing to show you, right? And they're like, and everybody's like, oh, what is this? How can there be any better than this? This is already fucking amazing. And then you hear like over on the voice, Jarvis says like, we have another incoming, and everybody's like, what's going on in the crowd, right? And then you hear War Machine's voice says, what do you need me to do, Iron Man? I'm here to help. And then you see a missile come and just blow something up. And then it's like you pan around and you look and there's War Machine. And then you see another person walk on stage with a controller, right? Yeah, they're just both going around fucking shit up.
Mm-hmm.
And the same what like same environment, everything like because I think that what turns people off from co-op is like they changed the game too much to become like a games of servicey type live servicey thing. But if you showcase the
Yeah.
game as like this is the experience, the full thing, and it's just like you can also do it with your buddy, right? That's where it would get me.
Yeah, that would bring the game to another level. Like co-op always brings for me the games to another level. You don't have to add all that live service stuff in there, but I mean, who we're talking about here? We're talking about EA. So, um, I would yeah, I would love that presentation, Mav. Like in my brain, it looks super dope. You fly around the city, you're defeating Mandarin's goons. But when you said hammer, actually that makes more sense. If you're thinking about what threats to have, like
There'll
Mandarin,
probably be
he
more than one bad guy. Usually in these
you
superhero
think so?
games, they have more than one.
True.
Um,
Yes.
so
So
I
probably like have Mandarin and Hammer or something teaming together.
or what if Iron Man has to like um fight mind control or something? Well, that's just a Brainiac story. Never mind. I was gonna say you can end up
I mean,
having to fight like other Avengers or something like that. Like it'd be kind of
I
cool.
could see him fighting the Hulk. Like if you have a moment where um you want to introduce the Hulkbuster armor, I could
Yeah,
see like Hulk attacking the city, and you're like, "Calm down, Bruce," and he's like, "No," and he he just knocking down buildings and
yeah,
stuff, and then you're like, all right, I need to build something for this. Like maybe you try to defeat him and you just can't, so you go back to your that's a big part of Iron Man is you building newer armor to
yeah,
combat
yeah, yeah.
different situations. So maybe the Stark Tower will be a big thing for
Mm,
you customizing.
yeah. Walk around
Yeah,
the fucking tower and stuff
that
and
it
mess
has to
with
be in there.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
that's
dude,
a
this
big
game's
part of
sounding awesome right now.
it. Yeah, I
It
can't
really
wait.
because upgrades and stuff like that, like a lot of times you feel like they're kind of forced into games, and it's like, that they
Yeah.
kind of do that with some of the superhero stuff, like in the comics and movies, but not like we do in these games.
Yeah,
Like
Spider-Man, he's
it's a
not
little over
doing
the
all
top.
that,
He doesn't
but
have like 50 million suits at his disposal usually with all these different abilities and gadgets and stuff. He's usually just Spider-Man. But like Iron Man, that makes a lot of fucking sense because that's just what he
yeah,
does. That's like what he's all about, right? So the game can be built around that, just constantly improving and finding ways to equip things to face your opponents
yeah.
that.
Maybe when you get attacked and your health goes all the way down, they actually can destroy your armor and you're just regular Stark. And then
Mm.
you basically can still fight a little bit, and then they send you, you're like, Jarvis, send me another suit. And then
Yeah. Oh, you could order
that could
another
be
suit. Oh, yeah, you have to like a health
yeah,
amount on your suit, and there's like a time limit in between when you get your new suit or
before they
not. In
send.
between, then you got to
Yeah.
like run for your fucking life. It'd be
Yeah.
like it'd
Like
be
maybe you can shoot a little bit.
it'd be like in Mech Assault back in the day when you like got out of your armor, and you're running
Yeah.
around as like the pilot, or like
That would be
Titanfall, you're
so
running
sick.
around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Titanfall. Like basically you're like
Just this little
you're kind
fucking
of
puny nerd running around trying to
like,
survive for a
oh,
while. Well,
until your suit gets there.
yeah.
Yeah, that could be sick.
Love it. Or till Pepper
Yeah.
Potts comes in her own suit and saves you.
Oh, like a support, like she's your
Yeah,
RB button.
right. She's the RB button. Yeah. Or like
Yeah.
Ironheart.
Oh yeah. They could
You
add
could you
Ironheart.
could add nobody wants to play as Ironheart.
Yeah, I don't want to play that. I mean, but if I was Disney, I'd be like, listen, you gotta add
You gotta add
Ironheart. We're about
Ironheart
to
to
have
this game.
yeah, we're about to have a movie with her or something. So you gotta add her. That's what I would do, but I
Yes,
mean I wouldn't want to do it. But
I think
yeah.
she's gonna be in the Young Avengers thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
I'm only excited by like I overall I will watch every Marvel movie, but Ironheart is not one of them. I will just say that. Like Deadpool and Wolverine is the one I'm most excited for. I am starting to be excited for Thunder. Was it Thunder or something?
Thunderbolts with the asterisk.
Thunderbolts. Yeah, yeah. Why
What
do
do
you
you?
think there's an asterisk there?
I don't know.
Hmm.
There's a lot of fan theories, but I don't
Hmm.
know like enough about the Thunderbolts to begin with to have my own theory.
Yeah, me either. I only know like basic stuff about Thunder. They're just like a okay team. I have like one of their books that I never finished reading.
Yeah.
But I feel that way with Guardians of the Galaxy, by the way. Their books were trash. I'm just saying. The comic books for Guardians were like really bad. Um the movies like
Some of the best MCU movies, period.
yeah,
The
the
Guardians movies. Yeah.
movies, that's how the comics should have probably been, but the I did not like the comics at all. Growing up.
I saw
It's nothing like
somebody
it.
say that about the Fallout show. Like the Fallout, somebody actually was like the TV shows or movies actually play out better for this Fallout franchises than the than the games do, the open ended aspect of the
Hmm.
games. And I'm like, okay.
I don't know. I mean, they basically take the games and like we were talking about it on I guess maybe it was the last show, but the fall like there's different parts in the show. I'm trying to say without spoiling. There's different parts of the show that very much resemble what happens to you in the game, just through a storytelling aspect. But what I like about Fallout is you kind of can do what you want. Um, like you kind of more so craft your own story as opposed to the show where you're seeing someone else's story play out. So that's pretty much the difference. But the show did a great job at like pinpointing like the world that you're in and making it feel like Fallout because it's so hard to do Fallout because it's like a serious thing that's going on. Like it's
Yeah.
the end of the world. It's like post-apocalyptic nuke environment. But then they add like humor to it. Like it's
Yeah.
such a
Like
weird
when he
blend.
loses control of his power armor and he starts like flying around, running into shit and stuff like that.
Yeah, like that perfectly fits. Like your Pit Boy and stuff. It's just like everything's happy, but everything around you is
Yeah.
depressing. Like that's Fallout.
Mhm.
Not
Yeah.
and not everyone can do that mixture very well, but they killed it.
When
Um,
God, when Jasper comes back, uh we gotta have like a really long fun pop just talking about the
yeah,
Fallout show. Like
like a
spoiler
two
heavy.
two
Yeah.
chapter fun pop
Yeah.
for
Um
sure, for sure.
that'll be fun.
And Louis said he disagrees on the Guardians of the Galaxy comics. I know people who worked on the comics that didn't like the comics that they worked on for Guardians. So I'm just
Yeah.
saying, okay. But I'm not like that's my opinion too. But the people who worked on it, like I know some of the people who worked on it, and they didn't like what they were working on because they were like, I don't want to get too much into that, but yeah, take that what you will.
Yeah. So what do you think? When do you think we actually get this game, Fuzz? The Iron Man game.
Also between 26 and 27. I'm thinking it definitely winds up being cross gen. Like I would have liked it to be ready sooner, but if they're talking about a job listing still
Yeah.
out there type of thing,
Do you know
that,
what position it was for?
Mm, yeah, hold on.
I'm assuming it had something to do with the open world design or maybe the environment or something along those lines. Because I guess that's where they gleam the open world aspect of it.
Yeah, I'll read this part. It says, this is from PCGamesIn.com. But Dead Space remake developer Motive's Iron Man game will seemingly be an open world if a job listing from EA is anything to go by, with Motive now splitting time and resources between Battlefield and Iron Man, and seemingly not a Dead Space 2 remake. It looks like the first details of the superhero tie-in are already available. It says Motive Studios is looking for a senior technical artist to help oversee the rendering related aspects of an open world action adventure AAA title.
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah. So maybe 26. I'm guessing. Where did you see that? Can you send me that?
Yeah. I will put it here in the DMs. All right, so yeah, it's senior technical artist is what it said.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's so many job descriptions that sound the same within video games. Like, you probably have more insight into what exactly that kind of person does 3-bit. But they always sound super fucking important. But even like the smallest job at a game studio sounds like they're like the lead designer on this fucking game. You know what I mean?
You
Like,
look-
or they're in
you
charge
look
of
at it-
everybody. There's always like senior, or like
Senior coffee maker.
director, producer, like all these different things are in there, and it's like, oh wow, they're still hiring for that. They must not have done anything yet, But
You
like,
look at the description, like your
yeah.
job is to get the Gatorades.
right, yeah,
Director of green M&Ms or something.
The director, the M&M director.
right. Your job is to clean the foosball table after every use. Okay, you're the
Yeah.
director of foosball here at the studio.
Yeah, it looks like from what I'm reading, senior technical artist. I feel like they just it could mean a couple things. I'm pretty sure when it talks about rendering, it's just referring to like the texture and optimization there.
Yeah. I'm saying,
like-
like, I don't know if this job title in itself means anything or where the game is in development, but I would say that it's probably still pretty far away. I'm thinking probably, like, you guys are right, 2026. But if that's true, it could be a game that around launch time of the next gen Xbox, right?
Yeah.
But it will be on the PS5 Pro. Because apparently this is the transition here. Apparently the PS5 Pro is all the leaks were actually real. Tom Warren has come out on Twitter and reconfirmed those previous leaks. Also, the original video that posted all this information was copyright struck from PlayStation. Actually, a copyright strike. So that happened. And so basically the PS5 Pro is going to have a slight CPU advantage. And a little bit better graphic GPU. I don't know. It's less exciting now that these details are confirmed because it's like a 10% CPU boost. If they put it in like overdrive mode, and that's like a developer choice.
Yeah.
So that's kind of confirmed now. I was more excited. I guess we have to see like what they're able to do
Most
with the
devs
games.
will opt out of that overdrive mode, so it'll just I'll look closely at the specs. I haven't had time to like dive into it, but based on like last time, it'll be like the equivalent of a Series X or a little bit stronger.
It's like,
But it'll
what?
basically be the Series X, like, which will help out Series X games a little bit.
So this is an article from, I'm just pulling stuff from random websites I've never heard of, bgr.com.
Okay.
About a month ago, we began seeing PS5 Pro specs leak that seemed to be genuine. Reports said that Sony was investigating the origin of the internal documents that contained details about the PS5 Pro's purported performance bumps. Apparently, Sony has shared those documents with developers in anticipation of the PS5 Pro's launch. The same specs leaked again, sending the same message. Game developers have access to the official documentation and will get their hands on PS5 Pro units ahead of a late 2024 release date. The actual date remains undisclosed, but it all makes sense after all console vendors routinely target the Christmas quarter with new products. So yeah, this holiday, PS5 Pro late in the year, right?
So that means a showcase is coming up, right?
Yeah. The new PS5 Pro specs leaks come courtesy of The Verge, which obtained a full list of specs for the PS5 upgrade. The blog reports that Sony is already instructing developers to ensure their games are compatible with the console. The main focus appears to be improving ray tracing, with the PS5 Pro's hardware more capable of rendering ray tracing in games. PS5 Pro is internally referred to as Trinity, It features a more powerful GPU, a slightly tweaked CPU that can run at higher clock speeds, faster memory, and other performance tweaks that should improve gaming experiences. Sony is apparently encouraging developers to enhance their games for the PS5 Pro, with ray tracing being a big aspect of this. Games customized for the more powerful console will reportedly be labeled PS5 Pro Enhanced. Regarding GPU performance, the PS5 Pro should be about 45% faster than standard PlayStation 5. The GPU will actually be larger and feature faster memory than the regular PS5. Sony is using a more powerful ray tracing architecture, giving the PS5 Pro triple the performance of the PS5. The CPU will still clock at 3.5 gigahertz like the PS5, but the PS5 Pro will also feature a 3.85 gigahertz CPU frequency that brings up to 10% performance boost where needed. Developers will be able to choose which mode to use. However, if developers use the max CPU speeds, the GPU will see a downclock of about 1.5%, lowering the overall performance by 1% compared with the GPU running at full speed. RAM is a bit faster, 576 gigabytes compared to 448. The memory system is supposedly more efficient, so the bandwidth gain may exceed 28%. Furthermore, developers get access to 1.2 gigabytes of extra system memory for a total of 13.7 gigabytes. The report also mentions PS5 Pro PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution support for upscaling games appeared in the previous specs leak. Similarly, Sony's custom architecture for machine learning. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, you're getting a GPU boost. You're getting not really a CPU boost at all. I'll just be honest. Like, it's nothing worth even mentioning, even though that's what all the information keeps talking about. Like, with all the reports, 10% CPU, it's nothing. And that's a choice that even like downplays the GPU that you're gaining. So why, right? The GPU boost, I guess, could help quite a bit. I don't know. Is this needed, or
like it'll be what the Series X specs are with better ray tracing? Just from what I'm hearing, but we'll see if the devs, if they push it to overclocking, or I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening. Like,
how much?
Like how much?
How much is this going to cost?
$699.
$699.
Yeah.
What do you
probably,
think?
I think I agree with Fuzzy. I think $699. Or will they do? It's going to be more expensive than 500. So just to be different, I'm going to say 600.
Okay.
But
I will say 600 as well.
Okay.
I don't know. It may be $699. Fuck.
It's Sony.
All the talk about ray tracing is like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. Now, if they tell me like every game on this thing is going to run 4K 60 or higher, I'd be like, yes, that's what I want. But just the fact that they're encouraging devs to push ray tracing more, it's like, hey, still make your games run like shit, put more ray tracing in it. Use it for that.
Make it shinier.
Yeah, maybe for certain games, maybe it'll show really well. Maybe I'm being
looks great in Spider-Man Miles Morales. For some reason it doesn't look as good in the other Spider-Mans. But in Miles Morales, well, it looked okay in the first one. But Miles Morales, it looks pretty good with the ray tracing in inside environments. Can't really tell what it does on outside.
Yeah.
But if you're like inside of an office and you're beating up bad guys, pretty good. You can see the reflection of yourself. You can see the fire, reflecting off of the windows and things like that. But I don't think it's worth performance disparities.
Yeah.
Things like that. But
the latest rumors also is that these are actually just made out of unsold PSVR 2 parts.
And Amit Kumar, what he just said, like, He said these devs barely have time to develop for current gen consoles, but somehow they think they'll spend time developing for a PS5 Pro that only a fraction of the user base will have. Like, preach.
Yeah.
Like, friggin' preach. Because we had all that talk about Baldur's Gate, and then, like, them basically, like, people saying, like, oh, it won't run on the Series S because the Series S is a potato. And then the minimum spec was lower than the Series S. And then they put out a statement later on saying like, "Oh yeah, the Series S actually helped us optimize it more." And I was, bro, like these developers, the way they optimize their games nowadays are they really wait till they're done with production. Like they need to basically change their pipeline to make sure that they optimize games earlier to really benefit these consoles. And if it goes multi-platform, then you're not really optimizing it for specifically PlayStation or for specifically Xbox. It is usually geared more towards PlayStation, which usually screws over Xbox. So by having the PS5 Pro, it will help the Xbox naturally just because the specs will match up a little bit closer. So finally the Series X might get some boost there because people love the PlayStation or developing for PlayStation.
See, I don't have faith in that 3-bit.
But I don't either, but that's in theory that's what it's supposed to.
You know
to
what I think? Because they're gonna still have to develop for the regular PS5, right?
Yeah.
So they're gonna do these like PS5 Pro enhancements, and that'll be like a better version or whatever. And they're just gonna give Xbox users the crappy port of the regular PS5 version.
Probably. The good developers will take some time, but yeah.
That's just the nature of developers, I think, and like the publishers and like allocation of resources and stuff. They're gonna say, well, PlayStation, we got 2 versions we're doing. Xbox is gonna get the regular PS5 version, and we're gonna port that over there.
And you're adding more time because like they have different SKUs a little bit for PS5 Pro and the PS5, and then if you're putting it on Xbox, then you also have to do the Series S version. And then developers already are just like, I don't want to do that. So
yeah. I hope you're right. I hope, because I've seen a lot of people talk about this, how it's going to benefit, Xbox, because like it should in the perfect world where they do things the right way and stuff. I don't trust it. Because of the way they've always treated Xbox.
And you shouldn't. You really shouldn't, because just based on how developers work nowadays, and also from experience, they prioritize PlayStation. So that's what it's going to be, and Xbox will always be the port. So why people are saying that is because like they would be porting like the PS5 Pro version to the Series X, which could be some benefits because they naturally are just porting from that version usually.
Yeah.
And then through brute force, Xbox can do better or it cannot. It really just depends. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. I just think that he had a good point where these developers are already struggling with the consoles we have now. So to basically add another layer to that with the PS5 Pro.
Like I'm all for like
I don't know.
options for us to buy better hardware, like, but I don't know, just the CPU thing just discourages me.
I just feel like they also haven't fully utilized this though, Mav. Like they haven't fully utilized what we have right now. So it kind of does suck that the PS5 Pro is coming out because they haven't fully utilized the PS5 Pro and they haven't fully utilized the Series X yet.
Yeah.
I think Hellblade will be that first game that starts to take advantage, but we're already hearing about other consoles and they both haven't lived up to their promises.
Xbox is supposed to have hardware announcements or something this holiday too, but we don't know what it is, So it could most likely
Please
it's going to be
handheld.
the digital, the cheaper version or whatever. But like it could be a handheld. It'd be crazy, like PS5 Pro versus Xbox handheld, if that actually happened. You know?
Yeah. That would be
We get a nice showdown.
Yeah. I want to see that happen, and then in 2026 or whatever, we get the next Xbox. Be
Yep.
crazy.
Jason Max says that Xbox haptic controller. I do feel like we might see that
Yeah.
this year.
That's going to be a thing.
We get
Series
that at
3
Gamescom or something.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a update on the existing regular controller, plus there'll also be the Series 3 Pro. I think they're going to do like a complete update on the controller, because I think that's what it was in the leaks, right? So we'll get new Series X and S controllers like as a standard. That'll come with whatever the new hardware is, unless they would do a handheld. And then we'll have the new Elite controller announcement as well.
Right.
So it's gonna be interesting to start seeing announcements for hardware, and then we'll have more hardware next year announced with whatever Nintendo does as well. So buckle up, everybody! It's gonna be an interesting year. If you really think about it, from about this time next year, we should have heard about the Switch 2 probably, and also everything we would have learned this year. It's gonna be crazy. But what game do they market with the PS5 Pro for this holiday?
GTA, if they can.
Well, it's not that's not coming out till next year. So like, yeah, maybe they market it, but like GTA hasn't even released a commercial or anything, you know, so, or a video yet. So like, what holiday game? There's got to be a holiday game if it's launching this year.
Well,
they don't have any games.
It won't be considered a holiday game, but it'll be a little early. Sea of Thieves, because that water is going to look fantastic.
Oh, the ray traced water in the PS5 Pro version of Sea of Thieves. Yeah. Fuzzy.
That would be so.
Play Sea of Thieves best on PlayStation. Oh, if they start marketing.
At least the water.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's funny that I could actually see that happening.
Ray tracing update exclusively on PlayStation.
We have entered alternate universe.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
there'll be people doing PS5 Pro shares of just like sitting on the boat watching the sunset over the water. Like that'll be the thing to do with your PS5 Pro.
Luis Jose says Last of Us 2 Remake Definitive Edition. Yes, I kind of, in a weird way, without a big game, right? I'm thinking about the big third-party games for this year for the second half. What is there? I mean, for the big second half for big third-party games. I know there's some. I just, off the top of my head, I'm struggling to pull the biggest ones out.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. Help me out, chat. What's like
I'm trying.
the biggest third-party publisher?
Concord
that's
supposed
first party
to be this year. Oh yeah, that is first party, but
I don't think it's coming this year.
I don't think that game. Yeah,
Black Myth.
I
Wukong?
wouldn't be surprised if it get. Oh yeah, that
Wukong. When is that supposed to come out though? That's
July or August, I think.
So that'll be before the Pro though. So
Scott Free says Marathon, but that's not this year.
That's next year. Yeah.
Next year.
We're all stumped right now. Like, I'm trying to think. Okay. Games.
I'm gonna look this up. PS5 games this year.
Phantom Blade Zero? No, I don't think
Star Wars Outlaws?
Star Wars Outlaws, yeah, but when's that's coming out? When is that coming out? August or August something, right? They said. So that'll be before the Pro.
Yeah. So that could be
Outlaws might be the biggest one off the top of my head, like for this year that's already announced. They could have some other surprises.
Yeah, that's something you can market. Like
games releasing this.
I'm sure that
year.
game's gonna look really nice, and so that could be like one game. They're like, oh, this game looks really nice on the PS5 Pro.
Upcoming game.
Maybe they'll do like a Gran Turismo update and be like, this game looks even better.
Yeah.
with the PS5
Maybe.
Pro. I could see them doing something like that.
Whatever it wouldn't have a release date yet, Death Stranding 2 is supposed to be next year, right? As well.
Oh yeah, maybe they'll do a trailer for that. Like, look how the difference.
Yeah, it's just
between
usually you
this.
want to have a game. Maybe they do GT7 update.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
GT7, they do, okay, so like they have a commercial where they say like, okay, all of our PlayStation games are getting a free. They won't give you shit for free.
Yeah, Meet Kumar's
They're
a
going to charge
nobody.
you
Gives,
another $10 for this thing, if not more.
yeah, they wouldn't give stuff for free. I'm just basing off of their history. Maybe they will. But Gran Turismo isn't a huge game. You're right, Meet Kumar. I mean, it's big for racing peeps like Fuzzy, but it's not like that big game like Star Wars Outlaws might be. So, when is Wolverine supposed to come out?
That's 2026.
They could start their early show. It'd be like,
so
this is what it's gonna look like eventually.
How about the Elden Ring expansions coming out in June?
They have the marketing rights for Elden Ring, right?
Nobody does.
Oh. I'm trying to help them out.
Fuck, man. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how, as well. No.
Oh yeah, and Alvin said Outlaws opened the Xbox showcase last year. Xbox marketing. That's true. I mean, you're not wrong.
All the big games are Xbox games for the second half. Like, I'm struggling to find a big third party game that's really like for holiday season, because like you would obviously say Call of Duty and that's fucking Xbox now still. Like, they're not going to market that at the PlayStation show unless they have the marketing rights still for this.
Baby steps. Meet Kumar says.
Baby steps, maybe.
I mean,
yeah, there's nothing.
I'll take it.
We're not. There's probably gonna be something announced. But why did they have this first half of this year so fucking loaded with nothing in the second half?
They really should have spread it out. But I guess since it was third party, it's not like their game to do that with.
This is from Games Radar, like on the without release dates, because we got release dates up until September, but even September is like Space Marine 2 and Stalker 2, right? Stalker 2 is obviously Xbox exclusive and stuff, and Space Marine 2 I think has already been marketed by Xbox, if I'm not mistaken, as well. I could be mistaken there. I'm not sure. Star Wars Outlaws is in August. Black Myth Wukong is in August. So
No Rest for the Wicked.
Yeah, I can't wait to play
It
that.
just drops on PC now, I think, with the early access coming around. Do they list a console date or no?
For what?
No Rest for the Wicked.
I don't think so.
There is nothing.
Silent Hill 2 remake, but they just showed that and it looked like shit. So that's not going to draw hype for a pro.
It could look better.
It looked like
when does Judas come out?
It did look bad. I actually was like, "Whoa!"
Judas?
I was excited for that game, but
Judas isn't on this list for this year.
It might be 2025.
This list could be wrong though.
Do they still have Call of Duty marketing? Jason pointed out, like, if they do, then that could be the last time. I mean, I wouldn't do it, but it's possible they still have Call of Duty marketing rights, or no?
I think they do, because I think they closed they closed the contract based on delivering Modern Warfare 3 the way they did. Instead of it being DLC, it being a full game. I
That's why they
think
released it so fast.
at least that I think that's part of it. I think
I thought so too.
they wanted to, satisfy that contract kind of thing.
Well, we'll find out, I guess, what the fuck they come up with, because they got to be creative here, unless they have some games in their pocket, right?
Oh, Astrobot 2.
Fuck. That would surprisingly that would actually get a lot of hype, I think.
I would actually be kind of hyped for that.
Yeah.
That game was actually really good. I mean,
Everybody was
not
talking
to the
about
point
it,
where
man.
to promote PS5 Pro though, I would delay the release of PS5 Pro till next year, just because you don't have any things to market it with.
Yeah, Astrobot was like, I don't know why everybody was loving it so much. It was like I felt like I was playing a demo the whole time I was playing that.
It was a good demo.
It was just that the control. It was even to this day,
controller.
it's still the best game for that controller. Like,
Yeah,
you
for
feel
sure.
why that controller has that haptic feedback, or at
Yeah,
least
but-
they're like the only ones that had the ability to make it do what it did, type of thing.
No other developers are utilizing it that way, though. And
Not
like
even their first party.
yeah, exactly. And like, yeah, as like a gimmicky kind of thing, like it was kind of okay, but I just felt like I was playing a controller demo the whole time, not a game, not a game really. I don't know.
Yeah, for me, it was kill the battery fast demo.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it'll be creative. Maybe Knack. Maybe a new Knack game will come out. Let's go.
Man, they need
A
really
new
Knack
Ratchet.
when you
Could they
need
have
it.
a new Ratchet in their back pocket?
Well,
It
they
is
said in-
Insomniac, so
Yeah.
they've been carrying Sony.
I
for the
don't.
most
Was
part,
there
but-
wasn't? We would have seen that in the leaks, though, right?
in the leaks. It
I
said
think they
were
shelved one.
yeah, like that was in the leaks that they wanted to work on another Ratchet and Clank, which could work because you would think it. Here's the thing: you would think it would work because they have the assets already for a Ratchet and Clank game, and you can take it from there. But I thought the same with Spider-Man 2. They had the assets there, and the cost was like way more. So I don't know anymore.
So it'll probably be like hopes and dreams of like next year, like the games you're going to be able to play for this thing next year and the next, and then this
They
year
would have to.
they'll
Like you can maybe buy it this year to prepare for next year. They might have to market it like that.
they'll have to
'Cause
talk
they
about the
don't-
updates you'll get and stuff on existing games, but I don't think they're going to give us that shit for free. So I don't know.
I didn't think it was that bad till we started talking about it.
I want
Like,
more
I'm-
power in my games, but I just want games to play on it, and I play my multiplats either on PC or Xbox. So, if they perform that much better on console, I would consider maybe getting it. But there's not any big multiplats even right now to be excited about for after that thing releases. Like
What about if they somehow get the rights to Star Wars Outlaws, whatever, and they put it on, like they maximize the PS5 Pro, would you do it?
I think Ubisoft will take advantage of the power on the Pro with the update, right?
Yeah.
EA, like that's a good. I got to give props to EA and Ubisoft for this. Okay,
The games look beautiful.
because when there is new hardware, usually they do free updates to take advantage of it without any extra cost or anything. So I do kind of think they probably will, but it won't be there at launch when everybody's talking and excited about Star Wars Outlaws. It'll be later when the Pro launches, because they're all talking about holiday. So
Are they making a mandate? Was that in the article? Like you have to develop for the PS5 Pro as well, or was it more of like an optional thing?
I don't know. I have to read the article again, but I think they just said that they are asking them to, or something like that. So, all right, everybody. Well, we got one more segment here on FSP episode 99. This is Tidbits, the segment where we look ahead at the games releasing for the week. And is this a good week, Buzz, you think?
Everybody should be able to play
Not
this.
really for Xbox. It's I mean, well, not that it's bad for Xbox. It's just there's only one real game coming to Xbox this week. All the other ones are coming to PlayStation, but then again,
A lot of them have already
those
been
that are coming to
released
PlayStation-
already. Yeah.
Exactly. They
Okay.
were already like at least two of them were already on Xbox.
I'm looking at this list. This is a pretty shit week, but we'll have we'll have some fun with Tidbits anyway. Just forewarning, not the best week. How we looking on the thing through the? Oh, we're
Yeah,
here.
all the games are in here.
Okay.
All right, so this one is Dave the Diver coming to PS4 and 5 this Tuesday, and it's priced at $19.99
Yeah.
for the standard edition.
I think eventually this will be on everything.
I think
Yeah, I
so
heard
far
good
it's
things about
PC and Switch or something.
Yeah.
And OG Cole, he says GTA 6 and Ghost of Tsushima are two games you pay $100 for. Probably same. I don't know about Ghost. I still haven't finished Ghost. What I played from it was like really good. But yeah, I still gotta go back and check that out.
Ghost was awesome.
So we've grounded PS4 and 5 on Switch and Switch and PS4 and 5 grounded. $31.99.
And it's cross-play, cross-progression. Hey, team up.
The spiders are freaking scary in this game.
Not if you turn them into marshmallows.
Yeah, just the spider slider.
Nice. I don't know what the heck happened to the playlist, but I
Yeah, it just said I was host or something. I don't know what happened.
oh, well, you got it.
Alvin, member for 22 months, says Vampire Survivors comes to PS5 second half. There you go. Oh, they're gonna showcase it's just Vampire Survivors with the Pro. Amazing. Alvin.
Ray tracing.
This is Harold
This is-
Halibut.
Yep. And it's coming to basically all next gen stuff or PS5, Xbox Series S and X, as well as PC. Tuesday, $24.99. It's day one in Game Pass.
Oh,
Heck yeah.
thanks.
It looks very creepy.
No, I
I like
didn't mean
it.
like that. You just,
It's like
almost like the claymation
you mean
style
judger,
to it.
you know?
Yeah.
yeah,
You seem to just
almost claymation.
accept.
So this one is this in Game
I
Pass?
tried.
I see it's a little Xbox.
Yeah.
Could be worse.
This is in Game
But
Pass.
there must
Uh-huh.
be more. More to life.
Phil.
One of our day ones.
Wow. Okay, Phil. There's too many dang games. I still gotta beat Hellblade right now.
Maybe a couple of reviews I
Is that
watched.
Dr. Computer?
It's a little bit of a slow burn,
Dr.
but
Computer? This opens a
interesting
whole
take
box of
on
questions.
if you've ever seen the movie Idiocracy, and it almost has some overlap with some Fallout type things as well. As far as the difference between the character
Actually,
you play
I
versus
did
the
kind of make a mistake.
rest of the people
We
of
all
the
make 'em,
town
Harold.
or the people that
Ah,
were
Cool,
from the
but
ship or
so-
something. So
We're sorry to put the burden on you,
Is it
Harold,
choice driven,
but you're
or
the
is it
next
more
best
so like
man for the
platformy?
job.
But it looks like
yes.
choices.
Yes.
You'll have different tasks. You can make decisions on the order in which you do the tasks, how you respond or react to certain characters in the world. Certain characters will react to you based on things you've done, either for them or for other people. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a different game that kind of plays like stop motion, but it's not a stop motion game.
yeah.
Rated
Cool.
E10
I
for
haven't
ages
heard of
10 and
that
up.
Or maybe I just forgot about it.
Now this is Planet of Lana, and it's coming to PS4, PS5, and Switch. It's already been on Xbox, and I believe it's still in Game Pass as well. But if you're picking it up on PlayStation or Switch, it's $17.99 on sale right now. I think the normal price is $19.99.
I feel like this is a game though. My fiance might really like.
I think no, that was
Oh.
Cocoon I was thinking of. I was about
Looks
to say
very
I think the
inside-y.
devs. Yeah.
Yeah, they're working on Cocoon. People
Yeah, it's
are
not
in the
gross.
chat are praising it.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it, although I haven't beat it yet. I'm probably, I think, 50 or 60% through. I forget what. I think this came out around the same time as Forza's, so it kind of got sacrificed.
It looks very insidey, which is like I love. So
It's made by
Yeah.
former developers of Inside, I think. That started
That's all
in
I
a
needed
different
to hear.
studio. I'm pretty sure that's.
that is.
Or
all I
maybe that
needed to
was
hear.
the other game. There was two games that I get confused.
I think the other one was
Oh.
Cocoon.
No,
It's only
not
on
Cocoon.
PlayStation?
It was.
Oh, no, you
it
said it was
started
on
with
Game
the S. Somerville? Was it Somerville or something like that?
I got
Oh
stuck
yeah,
in
Somerville as well. That one I got the 1,000 gamer score on. That one I enjoyed.
I liked it, but I got stuck in it. I'm like, how the heck do I beat this? And then I never won. That was
Now,
good.
this is Rose and Camilla Collection coming to Switch this Tuesday for $19.99.
I am no longer the
And
timid
I
woman you
believe
once
if
knew.
you're not doing this digitally and you're doing it by cartridge, it is a limited run.
I do not like the style at all.
What are they doing?
Just because you were married into
This
this family
style
doesn't
is
mean you have class.
not
I
it.
get the impression this is kind of like
This house will be mine.
Cinderella, but like
That's what.
it's almost like it's an exaggeration of a opera slash soap opera kind of drama.
It will be a piece of cake for me to dodge your slaps.
I mean, I love
Dodging
anime.
slaps?
This is like a slap. This is a slap game. It's like Mike Tyson's Punch Out, the anime. Oh wow.
Another slap.
Rose and Camilla.
I just don't like how close their eyes are, and it's like the proportions are off. But it's like, yeah, so not my favorite style. But I love anime. That's just not my favorite style. Looks very
This
deviant
is-
arty.
That's a happy shark.
This is Reigns Beyond coming to Switch and PC this Wednesday for $4.99.
That looked like a Fallout guy without a mouth.
I think this has already
looks
been
cool.
on Xbox. I'm not entirely sure. I think this one just didn't come to Switch or PC, or maybe it's supposed to come to Xbox shortly after.
It reminds me of the developers who does like Alien Hominy and stuff. Reigns Beyond. Nice. Oh, Devolver? That's probably why I like
Yeah.
That's why I like the style.
It was already on Apple Arcade.
Speaking of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, this is Final Fantasy 16's their second DLC called The Rising Tide. This one I believe sells for $19.99 individually, or you could have done the season pass $24.99 to save kind of like $5.
Can they name their fucking studios? Like
I think
something.
they're about to start,
Like,
right?
who's gonna get excited from the developers you all know and love? Creative Business Unit 3. Like, who fucking gets excited for that? Like, oh, are they must be better than Creative Business Unit 2. I remember the banger that they fucking made. Are we? Well, but just wait. Creative Business Unit 4 is really working on
They're
something
coming in?
special. Like, who?
He deserves a better fate.
Name your developers. Let them come up with a fucking name.
He
Jeez.
deserves to be free.
You're not wrong.
The studio of Bob.
How many business units are there?
The deep history of Creative Business Unit 3. Learn everything you can about Creative Business Unit 3 from their executive producer, developer number 1. He has no name. Or at least you don't need to know it.
So Did they change it at some point? Like, when was it always creative business unit? Like, when did they do that? I feel like once they fired the Western studios, it's around the time they did it. Because I only remember hearing about that with like Forspoken. But this looks pretty cool. I like the cutscenes.
I think whoever's involved with the NFTs probably did the naming convention on the
Yeah.
studio or something.
Probably. Lewis said, at least with Capcom is straightforward, like Capcom East. Yeah, that would make more sense.
Play it today on powerful gaming console 5.
I think this is the last one, right?
Yeah. This is No Rest for the Wicked. Coming to PC via early access.
Yeah.
This Thursday for $39.99. Now it's supposed to come to consoles, I think, later in the year. Not sure exactly when later in the year, or maybe next year, but get up on PC now if you like.
Done begging scraps.
The only thing I'm kind of disappointed on is that it's more Souls-like than Diablo-like. It looks Diablo-like as far as inventory, but I guess it plays more Souls-like, where you have to stagger the enemy before you can get some cheap hits in, type of thing. So
Everything it touches
Yeah, it looks really, I love the art style.
is a punishment upon those who have lost their
like-
faith.
The developers of Ori,
God's chosen.
their art direction, their sense of art direction is insane.
Yeah.
They do such a good job with that. Looks like just like a moving painting.
It's definitely a game you'd play just to look at. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
History will remember how we answer. No matter the cost.
Yeah, I mean that captivated me more than any other trailer that was shown. So, I'm looking forward to
why
that
isn't
for
it
sure.
at console early access?
It
too?
should be on console. That's
yeah,
the
it's
second part.
it's supposed to come to consoles eventually, but I think they just basically wanted to kind of let the PC crowd be the bug testers first.
Right.
Because they could get, I guess, some of the money now and get the feedback, and then possibly adjust accordingly if it doesn't land quite right with the PC crowd. They can kind of make changes as they go.
Yeah, it sounds exciting.
Yeah.
The game looks great though. I can't wait to check it out. I'll probably end up go ahead and get it on early access because it is a studio that is special, right? Way more special than Creative Business Unit 3. Because we actually have a name, Moon.
But Creative Business Unit 2, now they're special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have they
Maybe
made?
it's like the Fallout authors.
They made the game,
That-
that one game.
Video Game 5?
Yeah.
RPG 2?
Oh, sorry, it was 6. It was RPG 6. Yeah.
Open World RPG 3 coming out next year, made by Creative Business Unit 4.
This is such a. I did hear they wanted to change it.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, take 30 minutes and come up with the fucking ideas and write it on paper. Anything's better than that.
I say put like
was it
the
before?
names on a dartboard and
I-
just start throwing darts. The two that you hit first, that's the name of the studio.
Was it just Square Enix before? Like, what did we call them before? The Square Enix?
I don't know. Maybe they don't want them to have an identity because they'll
People will be like, "Oh, I like this." They like
Yeah.
Creative Business Unit 2 better than 1.
But why even have their name on the tagline of the opening of the trailer? Like, if you don't even let them have a name,
They're on punishment. They always disappoint. They underperform, so they don't deserve a name.
it's so that way when they dissolve it, people get less upset. Nobody gets upset about
Yeah.
Creative Business Unit 3 getting dissolved. It's like when they have a name, like, oh man, they dissolved like Pyromancy Games. They were great, you know? Now it's like, oh, Creative Business Unit 3. It just sounds like some fucking stupid office studio thing job. I don't care, you know? It's like
containment.
people won't get upset. We'll avoid the negative headlines and articles when we shut them down.
Oh, we shut down Business Unit 2
because we took PlayStation's exclusive cash and fucked them.
I do hope this new management knows what the heck they're doing, but
yeah,
they gotta prove it.
Yeah, they shook Phil's hand a couple of times, so that goes a long way. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been Gaming Podcast, episode 99. Appreciate
the Gaming Podcast.
Appreciate everybody being here tonight. You guys rock. Everybody in the chat's absolutely amazing, and thank you for all the support every week. And I remember, like, I will be gone here for over a week. So the next show that you'll see on our channel will be next Thursday. Will be not this Thursday, not this Friday, not our regular schedule. At no FSP next week. We'll be back for PM and the PM next week. So I will miss everybody. It'll seem like forever because this will be the longest stretch we will have gone, I think, in the history of this channel without a show or a stream or anything. So it's gonna be weird, even though it's like only a little over a week. But I will be back. We will be back, and I hope you guys will be back as well to have fun with us when we're back here. But 3-Bit, tell everybody where they can find you in the meantime, because you will be still here doing shows on your channel.
Yeah. I got some cool shows coming up on the Pixelated Echoes. So if you guys enjoy the conversations we got going on over there on Pixelated Echoes, go check it out. We do it every Sunday around 8:30. There will be one of our special shows will not be on a Sunday. We will talk more about that later. But some cool guests are coming up. And yeah, you like this gaming topics and fun times, go check us out on Pixelated Echoes. Other than that, you guys can find me here every Monday, except for next week. And I'll be right back when Mav gets back.
Right on,
so
man.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you being a part of what we do here, man. All the time for 3.5 years now. I feel like.
Yeah, 3 years. Xbox Ultimate, like episode
18, 97,
18,
something like that.
Whenever you start inviting guests. So yeah, it's been a while.
Thank you, sir. Fuzzy Belvedere, appreciate you as well. I mean, I got the Pixelated Echoes podcast here exclusively for Fun Speculation podcast. It's kind of crazy. Thanks for being here, Fuzz. Tell everybody where they can find you, man.
As always love being on here with you guys, man. This was a crack up tonight. Just enjoy this gaming stuff right now, and always enjoy your guys' takes on things. Enjoy the chat, interacting with them and everything. Thank you so much, guys, for coming out and showing support. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Greatly appreciate it. For those that want to hear my rambles and rants, just follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at @fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on Breakfast with Boom, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday morning. Shop podcasts on Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on PTK Blam's channel. And like 3-Bit said earlier, this Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Pixelated Echoes. And then we'll be back here when Mav returns. So safe travels, Mav.
Eat some good
guys. Enjoy the time with family and stuff like that.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Be safe out there.
Gonna try and find some good seafood in Boston. That's the one thing. I'm sure they got some good stuff there. But yeah, thanks everybody. Hope you have a good one. Peace out. Good night. Bye.
Bye.
Later.